and welcome back to the Pit Wall Podcast, where today we are going to be going over our predictions and guesses for the Spanish Grand Prix.
It's not a guess, it's fact.
It is a guess. The regulations are changing. We don't know what's happening.
Well, it's fact. I definitely did not say Lewis Hamilton was going to win Monaco last week or anything.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Closer than I actually thought.
If he wouldn't have gotten the 3-place penalty, there could have been
Something.
Potentially.
I mean, he made up 2 places, right? So if he makes up 2 places from fourth.
It would have at least been a podium.
And then he just magically becomes first. All right, anyway, well, this week is a big week, and we're going to talk a lot about that. But first, let's talk about the Spanish Grand Prix. It has been held 65 times, first held in 1913, not always at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Actually, this is the last time that it's going to be held for the foreseeable future because we're going to the Madrid after this. What a name. But yeah, this circuit has been around since 1991, and it began being hosted there and starting in 1991. It was finished construction the same year of the Olympics, or it coincided. So that's pretty interesting. This is a track that people tested at in the past, and there used to be some winter testing here, like true winter testing, like it snowed a few times. And but I mean, they're getting rid of it for some reason. I genuinely do not know why, because I kind of like this track. And it's also, there's a saying, which is if you have a good car in Barcelona, you have a good car. But now I guess it's going to be, if you don't get a ding at the Madrid, then you'll, I don't know.
You want to hear my hot take about this track, though?
What's your hot take?
I always like to figure out what the layout looks like. To me, this is a person flexing. I mean, the head isn't as great, but this is 2 arms and they're flexing.
I see an octopus that got hit in the head and squished.
That's fair.
Okay, well, anyway, let's get into the meat of this. And before we do that, and before we talk about what our predictions are, they're being driven by new regulations. And I've written a little blurb here to explain very briefly what are the new regulations. So, what are these new regulations that are coming in this week? They're actually not new regulations at all. They are just enforcement of regulations that already exist. It's starting last year in Baku, McLaren was instructed to change their rear wing because it was flexing a lot. And until the end of 2024, everybody thought that was going to be the end of it. But in January, they changed their mind and they were no longer satisfied. And they have these new things that they've decided, rather than starting right at the beginning of the season, that they would give time for the teams to prepare. But what they really did was give time for the teams to go ahead and make some flexi wings. But basically, what they're going to do is they're going to have new static load tests that specifically they measure the permitted wing deflection under load. And basically what that means is how it moves, how it flexes under load. And it's going from 15 millimeters to 10 millimeters. So they're going to test it. Ferrari, specifically Fred Vasseur, is expecting a huge shakeup from this. And he's expecting basically just like a complete reset, almost like a new, like we have no idea who's going to do this. However, Jonathan Wheatley, who was at Red Bull and is now at Sauber, expects that the 4 front teams will suffer the most. So with all that said, could have a new shakeup. Could be we're about to see Max Verstappen 2023 all over again. Who knows? It could go any way. So
I mean, you were saying it before when we were just talking. It finally feels like the F1 season has begun.
I still don't feel it. I don't know. It just hasn't been F1 yet. There hasn't been like a kind of race yet.
There's been like moments in races.
There's been moments, but there hasn't been like, man, what a banger. It's been like the last 10 laps have been a banger. Or like the Miami sprint was a banger, but not the whole race.
Do you think the like last 2 seasons have just absolutely desensitized us to
What do you mean? No, because
the dominance?
No, because 2020. You mean this season and last season?
Yeah.
Oh,
and the season before. I mean, Max dominance era.
Well, what do you mean? No, that would help us make us think a banger was.
Well, I mean, if you blocked out Max being on top, yeah, for the year where he won all but 2 races.
See, I can't do that though. So, well, anyway, with that said, I've been lamenting over who I thought was going to be on pole, so that's why I'm going to make you go first. Who do you think is going to be on pole? Who is going to have the fastest car on Saturday after these deflection tests?
I think that the McLaren are going to be nowhere close.
Okay.
I think that the Ferraris are starting to figure something out.
Okay.
This track is a very mixed speed tracks, but there's a lot of good straights, and Ferrari was pretty good at the straight speed during Monaco, so I'm going to have to say Leclerc.
Okay. Leclerc is on pole.
Yes.
You really built that one up.
I really did.
Okay. Well, and that's why, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I want, before I tell mine, I want to tell you that Michael Schumacher won this race 6 times. Lewis Hamilton has also won this race 6 times, and Ferrari has won this track 12 times. And with all that said, I think Max Verstappen's going to be on pole.
Yeah, you took a diversion as well. Yeah, explain.
Well, I've been having this big back and forth about like whether or not it was going to be Mercedes or Red Bull that benefited from this. I think Ferrari will also benefit from this, but I just try to think like who's going to be like the team to beat. And I had this feeling like 3 races ago that Mercedes was looking good, but then they've kind of been like not great recently. So
they did not get lucky at Monaco.
I'm kind of leaving Monaco out of it. I'm talking about the race. I'm talking about Imola, where I thought they were going to do a lot better than they did. So with that said, and with Christian Horner complaining so much that they didn't start these regulations at the beginning of the season, that just makes me think that maybe Red Bull thinks that they're going to be the fastest.
Yeah.
And they're not usually wrong. Like they're not usually like, we're going to be the fastest, and then they're not. Like they're pretty realistic, I feel like.
Yeah.
So Max Verstappen on pole. I debated George Russell, but that's who I'm going to think. So yeah, I agree with you. I think McLaren is going to completely and utterly fall off this weekend.
Yep.
I don't know if they'll come back, but I think this weekend is just going to be like unbalanced. And those two, like they're not going to be able to handle it. They're not going to be able to figure it out in time. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is going to happen. Also, Williams is running a rookie this weekend, which seems like a horrible idea. Like with a horrible idea. Horrible, terrible, dumb idea. But
it'll be fine.
At least Carlos, but they need to practice. But anyway, Carlos Sainz at least is not being replaced. I don't think it's Albon's car. So, with all that said, who's your P3?
My P3.
Okay.
I don't think you're ready.
You're very dramatic.
I don't know. I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling.
All right, tell me who's P3.
My P3 is going to be Lewis Hamilton.
Hey! First podium with Ferrari.
First podium.
So you're riding the Ferrari train.
I don't know.
Do you have Ferrari delusion syndrome? Is it time?
Does that exist?
Yes.
Or is it just Ferrari hope?
No, the Ferrari delusion syndrome is the original delusion syndrome.
I don't know, dude. Maybe I do. Their performance has been getting steadily better. I saw a statistic today that said that Lewis has more points at this point in the season than he did last year with Mercedes,
which is kind of baffling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I saw it too.
So I'm just like, I don't know. The car is looking better. Lewis is getting more of a grasp on it. Okay.
And they are bringing 2024 components back to this car this weekend, and we all know how well that went. So, and they designed a wing especially for that. So, all right. So my P3 is a fun one.
Okay.
So Jonathan Wheatley said that he expects the top 4 teams to suffer.
Yeah.
So that means that they're going to get closer to the bottom 6 teams, and who's in 5th place but Williams? So I'm going for Alex Albon. You're
giving me my Williams?
Williams is going to get their podium this weekend. It's all going to come together, despite what I just said about them being very dumb and giving an FP1 to somebody. But I think this is it. I think they're going to get their podium. If you have a fast car, it works in Spain, and I think Williams is a good car. And there's got to be a team that benefits, and I actually think that they're going to maybe possibly make Mercedes look kind of bad. So
you're saying we're gonna get merch?
No, I said that last time. No, I can't have all these merch bets. It's gonna get too much. I'm all of a sudden end up with like a Sauber shirt, and we can't have that. So
yeah, true.
All right, who's your P2?
My P2 is your qualifier, Max Verstappen.
You mean my pole sitter? My pole sitter.
Your pole sitter.
All right, why?
Look at the cards. I mean, he has this trend right now that's been statistically tracked where every other race he ends up on the podium. And I don't think he's going to break that.
Every other race he ends up in the podium, or every other race he wins?
Every other race he has been on the podium at the very least.
Well, I hope he's not. But, well, Yeah, okay. Well, my P2 is Lewis Hamilton. So
Okay.
I do have some Ferrari hope as well.
Hopium is back.
Ferrari hasn't done like great at this track, but I was going to put him in P3 because he got a P3 here last year. And he's, like I said, he's after all that buildup that I said about the pole sitter and stuff, I don't think he's going to win, but I was like, well, I think Williams going to get a podium. He's not going to beat Lewis. So that's how I ended up here. So Lewis Hamilton, P2, beats out his former team and also beats out Charles Leclerc somehow.
Well, that's so funny.
Yeah?
Because Lewis is going to win.
Oh, you think Lewis Hamilton's going to win the race?
You said yourself, P3 last year. He's feeling more confident and comfortable in this car. He's saying that it's one of the best pieces of machinery that he's ran in a while. Why not?
So you're saying he's going to break the track record here and have 7 wins. He's going to take the Schumacher.
Yeah, why not?
And dude, how great would that be? Because then it's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Because then it's over.
It's over. It's done. No more.
Well, as we all know, so are you assuming that Lewis qualifies second?
Yeah.
Okay, because who was your poll again?
Leclerc.
Leclerc. Okay, so wait, what happens to Leclerc?
He finished 3.
So he went from first to third?
Yeah.
I mean, that does sound like a Leclerc thing to do.
Yeah.
The classic Leclerc poll to not win.
Yeah.
Well, my winner is Max Verstappen.
Okay.
The 90% something of people have won from the front row at this track. It's not going to change. I think that Red Bull's going to have the fastest car, and we're all going to be wishing that the Flexi Wings came back because I think McLaren's going to be nowhere, and I think Red Bull, Max specifically, will have the fastest car.
Yeah.
And and then my overall other take is that Ferrari's going to jump from 4th to 2nd this weekend in the championship standings.
Yeah, I'll take
Even
that.
though Max wins, it's going to be very tight, but I think Yuki's going to be absolutely nowhere.
He's going to need Yuki.
Yeah, so
It's another Checo situation.
So literally Mercedes is going to get worse, even though they had the full chance to be clear second and fight for first if all this happened, and they threw away so many points this last weekend.
Yeah.
Totally sucked. Not really George Russell's fault, but Kimi not as much. And then their strategy was just terrible. We didn't do a race breakdown because it's just getting too close with these triple headers and stuff. So, it was terrible. So, any other crazy predictions for this one? This one's exciting.
Not a prediction, but I've heard a rumor.
What's the rumor?
I heard
Please don't say it.
that Ferrari
Don't say it.
is looking at Christian Horner.
I know. I was hoping we would talk about this. It can't be true.
It can't be.
It can't be.
This man was almost fired by his team, supposedly, a few weeks ago.
It can't. Can it be true? Is it true?
I don't know. Why would it be true?
Because if you can't beat them, join them. I don't know. I don't know. They seem to. I don't know. Because this car is bad. I don't know. It can't be true. I refuse to believe that it's true. But if it's true, can you imagine?
I think I would have to burn the shirt.
Too
Not legitimately.
expensive.
Yeah, too expensive to do that. However,
I can't imagine Lewis's boss being Christian Horner. That just I can't even handle that. I don't think he would go anyway.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, that disgusts me to my core to think about. So yes, I did.
You're welcome.
Do you think it's gonna happen?
No.
Me neither.
I think it's the rumor mill going crazy again.
I mean, now some team might pick him up if he gets fired, but
Yeah.
I mean, Sauber likes to fire people apparently because they just keep getting new team principals. Who, no, get out of here. Oh no, we'll have you. Oh hey, Andrea Stella. Wait, no, Andrea Seidel. Wait, I got them mixed up. Andrea Seidel. Hey, Andrea Seidel. Hey, come on over. Oh, actually, just kidding. Get out now that you've done a little bit of work. And hello, Jonathan Wheatley and Mattia Bonato randomly. So anyway, who's to say? But
Who's to say?
I hope not. Well, this
the absolute disgust.
If this race is boring, this has been the worst triple header I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Imola wasn't awful, but it's been very boring. So I'm excited for us to get into some real races. After this race is Canada, and Canada usually is great, and I think we're going to get some great racing after this. So I'm hoping that this is a good start. But if it's boring, maybe they'll be like, see, the Madrid, not too bad, right? But the Madrid is also looking super tight. So that's not great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anywho.
drop your predictions and get your tissues ready for when Max starts destroying the season, if I'm correct. So if not, I had George Russell, by the way, winning from pole originally, and I changed it. So that could happen. And if it's a George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Alex Albon podium, what a podium.
We'll take it.
We'll take those.
Yep.
I mean, I prefer it Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, Alex Albon,
No.
Carlos Sainz,
No.
then
Give
Daniel
me
Ricciardo.
my Williams. I have a coworker that is getting into Formula One via Drive to Survive. And we had a whole feud today about her choice and favorite driver thus far. She's only watched the series. But I had to explain how I support multiple teams and how Williams was awful last year and are slowly getting better. And I need this.
Well, you better hope these regulations work out for them. You need to be praying for that Mercedes engine. So, as we all are. So,
As we all are.
All right. Well, that's about it. We'll talk to you later. Subscribe, like, follow at the Pitwall Pod, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Christian Horner better not come.